Welcome back to Let's Get Deep. My name is Victoria Munoz, and today we have a wonderful guest. This guy right here is a genius. He is all over the place doing amazing things out here. And I mean, if I tell you what he's from, where he came from to where he is right now, where his plans are going to be, like you will be so amazed by him. And then he has this podcast that, guys, I'm being obsessed. When I got into like looking at them and Spotify, I was like, no, 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 you guys had to listen to it. It's the one of the name for the podcast is Dauntless Dreaming, and I'm telling you, if you are feeling inspired or want to get inspired, go listen. The first one was my favorite one, just because it kind of give you it kind of help you create a foundation for the type of person that you want to be. Like he was talking about waking up early, planning the day, just being open-minded, trying new things, just kind of interact, just networking, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. And again, I am so happy and honored to have you here. Like this is literally an honor. Your podcast is amazing, and I'm quite nervous right now because now that the tables are switching. So thank
I
you,
mean,
thank you for being here.
don't be nervous, but thank you for the kind introduction. I mean, it was that introduction was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Kush, and our podcast is called Dauntless Dreaming, as Victoria said. We pretty much just talk about, basically our slogan is, we aspire to dream dauntlessly. So we
Mhm.
talk about pretty much anything, and our focus, we started with our focus on talking about, the minorities, the brown and the black communities, but we're also slowly expanding on different aspects as well. We have had podcasts where we've had, just a couple of friends just having a good chat. And then we've also had, people that are maybe doing pre-med or also aspiring in music. We've had people that have done wonderful work in research but at the same time looking at colorism as an issue and reproductive health as an issue. We're having all sorts of different guests coming into our podcast, and most of them are from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, which is where I'm situated.
Mhm.
But slowly we're trying to expand on to different people. Even someone like Victoria we would love to have her on our podcast. It would be an honor. But thank you for the kind introduction.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I mean, if we go in depth, like I'm telling you, because I know also the great thing about that is like, the people that you have in your podcast, you guys kind of work together. Because from what I heard, one of the people that you had in your podcast, actually it did the music for one
Mm-hmm.
of my podcast, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's so interesting how like as a community, you guys like, hey, like let's help each other. If you eat, I eat, let's find a ways where we can like help each other kind of go for what we are passionate about and work together and just create that bond and make it stronger. And I thought it was so cool. Yeah.
And I think that what's important there is, we reached out to a community. We told a couple of friends of ours that, we want to make a platform where we can voice our own community. Because I think, when you're looking at, I'm a senior. My co-founder of the podcast is also a junior. And when you're looking at everyone's accomplishments, only some of them really get highlighted. But because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are doing really, really cool things, and a lot of people just don't know about it. And I think especially people that are coming in campus, like freshmen and sophomores, I think they should have the opportunity to listen, all the cool things their seniors are doing, so they can feel inspired. And also at the same time, I wish, I actually had good mentors, but I know that a lot of my friends did not have good mentors, and they felt very
Mm-hmm.
lost in their
Yeah.
career path. And I think a lot of us go through that. And I think that using podcasts as a medium where people can, we have people from all sorts of perspectives coming in, talking about what they've done and like the different types of things they believe in. I think everyone can just take something away from that and like
Yeah.
apply that in their own lives, and I think that's what's really important. And at the same time, even myself, I'm learning a lot just talking to different people of different places. Like, for example, me and Victoria, we had our pre-podcast discussion. We talked for like almost like 2 hours just because,
Yeah.
like we've never met each other. We don't know each other at all. Like we don't even know like, any of our friends or friends, but like at the same time, we're able to find a connection and like find a way for all of us to really connect and bond on. And, it's crazy. It's crazy how it works, but, I'm thankful for, I'm just thankful that, I have this opportunity that I'm able to, spread the word, about my community and people, whose voices need to be heard, because I think that's what's really important these days. And at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I'm just having fun, just getting to know more people, just having a good talk with them. I think it's kind of a blessing, to be honest.
Yeah, because in a way you're growing, it's like you hear people's perspective, you kind of like understand, okay, now I can see where I need to like even focus more. Like if you hear somebody like problems, it's like, okay, now let's see if we can find a solution, together. It's like,
Hmm.
because even like when you guys were talking about like even playing basketball, you guys kind of your group of friends like met through basketball. You guys were like, oh, let's
Hmm.
just play. Like somebody asked, and then from there you kind of build that connection. They're like, you know what, let's do a group chat. Let's just kind of like go in depth and like see what everybody's really about. And I thought it was so cool because in a way it's as simple as like, hey, asking like, hey, you guys want to play basketball? Like, I don't know you guys, but you seem cool. Or like, hey, anybody want to play basketball? Kind of like leave it so people can feel like, oh, like even though I'm nervous, because we were scared to be rejected as well, which is kind of like the
Hmm.
thing, because that's also why a lot of people don't like getting involved in school, and because they don't want to like feel like they don't know anything. But that's the thing, that's part of the process. Like, how I was saying earlier, like I was so I was so nervous. I was kind of like, not doing a great job, but it's just like that's just part of the process, because right, like, nobody knows how to walk. They had to fall
Hmm.
so many times, and then their parents like, you got this, and you like goo goo gaga, like you don't even know what you're doing. You just like trying to like just get better at whatever it is, and then eventually you start realizing, okay, I gotta walk. I want to be running. I want to be doing this with other kids. And it's just simple things like that you even do in the day to day, like even writing. Like I have a friend that just like writing music. And the first time it sounded like poetry, and she was like, oh, I'm not doing a great job, and then it's like, of course she's kept going. She didn't stop there, and eventually she felt like, what, I can see myself doing this. And then she played the guitar and then combine it, and I was like, okay, it's working together, because she was able to like improve this area, and then start, now that she had a little bit of the foundation for this, she went on and tried this other thing, and then it was like, okay, I have a good amount of understanding of both of those things, and I can see how I can make it together, make it work together. And then she did, and it's like, it's simple as that, just trying to kind of like, what is it called, improve it, like getting better at your craft or something like that.
Hmm.
It's just because it's, again, like everything about life is like anything that you're passionate about, you have to work hard, and it's going to be hard in the beginning. Like, how was it for you to to start this idea? Because I know you told me that you have a partner that's doing you're doing this with another person, which it makes it a little bit easier. Like, how do you guys came up with this idea? I know you said that in the beginning, but in the sense of like, how do you guys were able to take that, that step of confidence, where like, you know what, let's put it out there.
I think, yeah. So, I mean, you talk about a lot of great points. So, just to kind of like start off where the inspiration comes from, so we can
Mm-hmm.
kind of go back to the conversation about basketball, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
when coming into Carolina, I do want to know people of my community, and I think everyone that's especially a minority, like we all all these Hispanic people want to know other Hispanic people, and all Black
Right.
people want to know all the Black people. So,
Yeah.
and that was the same with us, and we knew that all of us like pretty much like basketball. This is how our community is. We know all the guys love basketball or like know of basketball. So, we made a group chat, and like now it has like, I don't know, like 100 members or something in it. And, we all, talk about basketball, and we all bond upon it. And like, that's how
Yeah.
me and Aniket met. Right. And like, we co-founded this podcast, and, I think that same inspiration that about, just trying to meet new people and like making a passion that we have, come true. Like, we all wanted to play basketball, but we also wanted to meet people from our own community so that we can bond upon and make better friends. And, we kind of just, came up with something creative, and we took that same creative outlet in making the podcast. Right. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, like with the podcast, Aniket just, I was about to go to sleep. It's like 2 a.m. and I get a text from him at 2 a.m. and he's just like, "Hey, I've been thinking about doing a podcast. Like, would you be up for it?" And it was so random. And the thing is, I've been thinking about it too, right? And
Yeah.
you talked about, you mentioned about, how you really have to learn, like, like in order to walk, you have to stumble down, you have to fall a couple times, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of times where I wanted to do a podcast, but it just felt like, oh, maybe that's too much work. Like, I have classes and I have all the stuff to do. Like, I don't even know if it's gonna catch on. Like, We barely have like 200 followers right now, and we just started recently, and to be honest, like sometimes I look at it, I'm just like, oh, that's like such a small number, but like to be honest, like we have 200 people that actually really do believe in what we're doing, and they want to follow along our journey, and I think that's
Mm-hmm.
really good that's a really good feedback that we get, right? So
Yeah.
um, sometimes we have to keep falling down, but like eventually we do learn how to walk, which is what's important. And you can't just give up on the passion that you have. And like you mentioned, you know, following up a passion, like something you're passionate about, it's tough. Like it's really tough to like feel like what you're doing is gonna catch up. And a lot of times, you don't want to do things just because you want to get famous or you want to get the money. Sometimes, well, I would say most of the time, like even with our podcast, like we don't like advertise ads or anything. Like we don't really care about that, because all of our goal is to make sure that we can, even if it's like 30 people listen to our podcast, our goal is to make sure that we can voice other people's opinions and like the things they're
Yeah.
doing. Want to make sure that we can give them a platform to talk about it, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't get that a lot, especially with today's social media. There's a lot more negative news than positive news, and
Yeah.
negative news catches on really, really quickly, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for me, like I'm at a point that I basically deleted most of my social media, and I try to focus on just myself and my own self growth and my self journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I try to teach the same things to others as well. And that's why like I was like, okay, if I'm going to promote something, it better be positive. It better be something that people can inspire by, even if it's not like a world class news or anything. Something that's
Mm-hmm.
happening in the world, like
Yeah.
even people like making changes in like in the lives of 100 people, it's still a big deal. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where the inspiration kind of came in. So
That's awesome.
and we're still going strong. We're gonna definitely keep getting better at it. I know that me and you, we're both in the same journey of learning
Yes.
through in this world of podcast, and it's kind of new. But it's been fun. Like I've loved it so far, and I've really enjoyed all of my conversation with all the people that I've met. And if I had to start over, I would do it again for sure,
Yeah.
100%.
And that's awesome because I mean, if you think about it, those 100 people, they're gonna like tell their friends about it, and then that turn to 1,000. And I mean, it just expand, like it just multiplies as time goes, because
Exactly.
when somebody gets something valuable out of it, they want to share with the world, and like even though we
Exactly.
don't really talk about that much, how you said, like when you know something, like you were telling me about your journey of like self-love, like losing weight and stuff, and like when you start realizing the importance of it, you wanted to like talk to tell your brother about it, just tell your family, like, hey, like maybe if you try this, like that, maybe that will help you. And it's like you start realizing, because you were feeling better about yourself, you were like, you know what, I like this journey, and like if you please go in detail with this one, because I was I was just out, I was telling you like before this podcast, and I was so inspired, because at the same time, men don't talk about that often, and that's the thing that is, it's kind of scary, because men are the one that are going through this kind of the emotional roller coaster, but they're so afraid to speak up about it, because they don't want to seem like there's a stigma behind it. And
Mm-hmm.
they shouldn't, because we all humans, we all go through situations like this, or have similar doubts, and there's like no gender in between, or or any type
Mm-hmm.
of gender, because how we just all learning at the end of the day, we all learning to be human beings, because we're all the same species. And it's hard, because it's like, again, like who knows, we don't really know who to ask for help, and that's the thing.
Yeah, no, no, and this could be something that I could really just dive into. Yeah, but body positivity and
Mm-hmm.
self love, I think, are two very important things that I think men, especially, I think pretty much everyone my age really goes through. But I can only speak on the perspective of men, because
Yes.
obviously I'm a
Mm-hmm.
man, so that's kind of what I know. Yeah, so throughout my 4 years of college, I've lost about 40 pounds of weight and just put on some muscle. Like right now I'm kind of bulking, so I
Look
have
at
I have like a
you.
little chubby cheeks and everything. But um but I think I'm at a point that I'm actually really happy with who I am. And like I actually don't feel uncomfortable just walking around, feel like people are always judging me, right? So
Yeah.
I think it the journey does really start from within, um, like understanding. So if someone that's listening to a podcast is going through issues of, how do you really like love yourself, because it's really hard to do that just because maybe you might be 300 pounds overweight, or even you might be 200 pounds and overweight, and you don't really know what, how do you really get started and make that first step, and like you're just like, oh, I have so much weight to lose, for example. Like, is it really going to be worth it going through the journey? And
Yeah.
so, I encourage, I love journaling, and I encourage everyone to actually journal, like write things that do bother you, and like make
Mm-hmm.
goals, like make small incremental goals to work on it. Because, like, for me, like, you've definitely heard about people like, losing 40, 50 pounds in a year. But for me, it really was just, experimenting and learning about my body and what works with me, and
Mm-hmm.
like how my body functions, like how I function, and like, what's good, what's best for me. And I think you really do want to experiment with that and see, what things you like and what things you don't like. And like I'm just talking about, like, weight, for example, like, if you like pizza, you don't need to cut off pizza. You can just make a healthier version of the same thing. So just eating like low calorie dense foods. So,
Mm-hmm.
filling things up with veggies. And, you know, for me, like, I've never really grown up like eating a lot of veggies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just put a lot of spices in it. It just tastes really, really good. Like, I
Yeah.
actually really do enjoy it because I feel like I'm putting something healthy in my body, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm just sweating all the time, like, before, like I used to, like eating fried foods and, French fries and hamburgers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, at this point, ask for help. I think that that's kind of a tough one, right? Because, uh, for me, like, like, for example, like, your parents always love you, like, no
Mm-hmm.
matter who you are, how you are. They don't want to see you like actually, suffering. Like, they want to make sure that you're always happy. So, you might be overweight, but your parents might just be like, hey, we still love you for who you are, and then you actually kind of feel comfortable. I think you really, obviously, try to get professional help if you need, but you really
Mm-hmm.
need to like ask yourself if this is the life that you want to live, right? And if
Yeah.
this is like the way that you want to be perceived, you know, throughout your life. And I think that's a difficult conversation to have with yourself, but it is important to have those conversations. So again, writing things down, writing things about, what bothers you, if you want to, I think so. Another topic that, I always think about is just the notion of like body positivity, and how, you know, I think there's a lot of negative stigma about it from
Mm-hmm.
men, saying that, oh, like, oh, why should we, why should we, why should we be forced to shove down opinions of, like, other people, like, like, why should I be forced to, let's say, like an overweight girl, when, that's not really my preference. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the point of body positivity is not that. It's just the fact that there is an unrealistic ideal standard on Instagram and social media and Snapchat in general, right? So, um, there are a lot of people, especially like if you're looking at like people with like six packs and like, just like looking absolutely perfect. Those people
Mm-hmm.
are like not living a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you like really read through like people that actually are honest on their social media, most of them will tell you that they're doing some sort of body, PEDs or steroids or something like that to, enhance their bodies. Because obviously, the more sculptured you look, the more, the more chiseled and like shredded you look, the more money you basically gonna get. Because the more better you look, the
Attention.
more
Mm-hmm.
attention you get, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because, by doing that, a lot of these young people are, they're making a lot of money, but there's one, obviously, setting off like wrong standards for people that are trying to be like them, but in a natural
Mm-hmm.
way. And two, they are also hurting their own bodies. So you really don't want to, see them as an example. And I only follow like mostly like natural bodybuilders, like that I know that they are natural, because like I've
Mm-hmm.
seen the proofs and everything. And those people are usually in their mid, like almost in their 30s, maybe like 25 or something like that, because those people have like worked on themselves for years and years and years. And you have to realize that, especially with fitness, it's, it's not something that you want to do for maybe 3 months just for a photo shoot or like for vacation, then come back and gain all the weight back. It's really about lifestyle, because like if you're in that
Yes.
cycle of like keep losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, you're always gonna hate it, because
Yeah.
you're just gonna look back at yourself and you're gonna be like, oh, I love how the way I look, in summer, but then like, did you really like love the way you feel? Because like you were probably like starving yourself the whole time, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so like figuring out like a balance of like how to eat properly, and like in my house, for example, like even my mom, like at this point, like we use like a lot of sugar free products, and you know
Mm-hmm.
you're everyone has their own opinions on sugar free products. Like if you wanna use it. Like a lot of people talk about, oh, there's chemicals in like sugar free products. Like I don't know if I want to eat them, but like I'm like, but then also you're also eating from McDonald's and Burger King, which is
Right. Thank
probably
you.
probably a lot worse than you eating some aspartame from Diet Coke. And obviously, like I mean, I don't drink a lot of Diet Coke. I do drink like 1 or 2 cans a week sometimes, because like I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to realize like what works for you, what works for your body, and whatever makes you feel comfortable within yourself, um, and follow that path. And it takes a lot of experimentation. It takes
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it's a long journey. So.
Yeah, it is. But as long as you're like, I think when you want to, succeed and stuff, it's like when you want, like, I want to feel great, then it's like, it's easier to go on more. Because I think that's the thing. A lot of people want to, lose weight and like, get in shape because they look, they create this expectation. Instead of like, I want to be able to go the stairs and not like get out of breath, because it's like, it's
Mhm.
making time, like small,
Adjustments.
yes, because think about it. If you just take the stairs instead of the elevator, that makes a whole different, that changed the game, differently. And then drinking water, like, drinking water instead of like juice, that, like, I just like, you have to like, because water is so important. Like, I don't think people understand the importance of water, because like you can get water through like, the juice. No, you need water. Like, we're as human being, we need water, a lot of water. And I think people don't understand that sometimes our body is dehydrated, and then it's crave food because it's trying to get some sort of, it's trying to hydrate itself. So it try to eat whatever that is, around there. So I think also too is like, yeah, trying to not get blinded by like the media, because that's
Mhm.
also a thing. It's like, how can you, just want to be rep, like, oh, when you're not, that's not really the person that you really want to be, like deep
Mhm.
down, you're the kind of person that just enjoy going on a little walk and, just have a normal life. Then it's like, why you want to get like this? It's like, I think it's like, and sometimes it's like the sense of FOMO as well, because it's like FOMO can be in different areas, like the fear of missing out, because like the missing out in the sense of like, oh, I'm not like those people, like I want to be like them, I want to see, how like they just like get, work 24 hours on their body and stuff. When in reality, that's not really you. Like, you just feel like you want to be part of that, but in reality, you don't. That's not who. And I think that's where people feel empty afterwards. Like, after they lose weight, and I mean, they lose weight and they get to like this stage or like, oh, I'm really buff, but I'm unhappy. And now they just go back to like the same cycle. And it's like, what was the point of you wasting that, not wasting, but investing all that time in something that it was never for you, or you didn't really want, And it's sad, because that time you could have spent it and just doing simple things that would just get you to the point that, you will be satisfied and just be able to enjoy, your regular lifestyle that is not, it's sometimes not everybody has the same lifestyle. I think that's also a thing with the media like kind of makes
Mhm.
our mind believe is like, whoa, we need to be, on the beach, this weekend or something like that. Why are we like, we are friends hanging out? But it's like, you're introverted. What are you talking about? Like, like in culture, like you're like, you try, like, I feel like your brains try to adapt so deeply into that it's out there that we forget who we are also. And that's where I think that we
Mhm.
had to like, that's where the self-love comes in. It's like, how do I feel? That's why you had the journaling is amazing, because since I started doing journaling, everything changed. I
Everything
didn't
changes.
realize, because I overthink everything. And like, it's to a point, I've read a lot of books and stuff, and they talk about like take 10 minutes to read, I mean to write. And I was like, you know what, let me start doing it. And as I
Mhm.
realizing, when I wrote those things down, I was able to see them. I was like, I'm so silly. Like, why was I overthinking this? Like, just reading it, rereading it. I'm like, what the heck? Like, this does. like if somebody tell me that, I'd be like, what are you doing? Wake up, don't waste your time in that. Like just the advice that I will be giving somebody, I was able to like give it to myself because I was able to see it from a different perspective. It's like seeing it from like the outsider perspective, instead of like
Mm-hmm.
the inside. And at the same time also feeling it, because not only like you
Mm-hmm.
see it from the outside, you feel it. Because I'm like, you know what, I would tell my friend not to like invest so much time on this person, and work more in
Mm-hmm.
themselves, and like I will ask them like, hey, how do you feel about the situation? Like, why do you really feel hurt? Like, what was that make you, that trigger you, and it's like that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like the type of questions that we have to ask ourselves, because I know they're uncomfortable, but they're very important. They're so important, because as you get to love and understand yourself more, everything else becomes easier. Because even going back to the you of your goals, like setting small goals, like for me, like I told myself that I was gonna I was kind of nervous to like just reach out to like strangers, but I was like, you know what, if I want to be a host and a podcast, I need to make sure that I build my confidence, and a way to build my confidence is by reaching out to people. So I started reaching out, just like look to their profile. I'm like, this person is cool. I would love to get to know them a little bit better, and get somebody else to like hear their perspective, and then you reach out, and then doing that, like kind of like every time I did, I was like, okay, I feel a little bit confident, I gotta know, but it's okay, because I mean, I might get a yes, I got a yes. And like, it's like I started doing that more often, and I realized that you might get no, you might get yes, and it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you try in the other day. And it's like, even it comes with like working out as well. Like, the first time you work out, you feel like, damn, like this kills me, like you you come out like, I'm never doing that again. Why do I hate myself so much? In reality, you love yourself because you're putting that extra work. In the beginning it's hard, but eventually you're gonna see results, and then you're gonna be like, okay, this is, I got to the point that I wanted to get, because I put the work, and I had a vision. Like, not only like I want to kind of look like that, no, I want to feel good, so in a way, it's like, it's all about like understanding yourself to the deepest level of like, okay, I know what I feel, I know what I think, I know how I seem, by myself, as well. Because sometimes we have to like put a mirror and be like, okay, who is this person, like, who do I
Mm-hmm.
really want to be portrayed as? And that's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
the part where we like marker ourselves, because it's like we're trying to marker the person that we see within ourselves, and that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like even the podcast, like me doing this, it shows I just like talking to people, I just like understanding and being open-minded about things. So in a way, everything that you do, it is gonna be aligned when you know yourself so well. Everything that your actions are aligned with your goals and your persona. So it's really, it's really cool, because you don't think about it until like you get to a point, you're like, oh, like maybe I need to just take a moment and just see and think, like, what am I really doing, and why am I
Mm-hmm.
really doing this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And you talked about, you never know until you try. And
Mm-hmm.
we had this small discussion before the podcast that the difference between the leader and someone that's a follower and that wants to be a leader is the same exact difference. Is like, who's going to be the one that's going to actually take the leap of faith
Mm-hmm.
and you know just jump to the next hurdle. And something like I mentioned in my podcast before is it's kind of like, how Tarzan, like he grabs a rope, right? And
Yeah.
like he's like holding on to this rope, but in order to go to the next journey, there has to be a point where he has to release this rope and then jump on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
So that you have to really take that leap of faith and trust the process. That if you're going to go take a jump, that leap of faith is what's going to distinguish you from being a follower versus a leader. So
Yeah.
for me, obviously the first step is obviously journaling and like figuring
Mm-hmm.
out the things that you want to work on, and the second thing is actually acting about those things. Like, obviously you don't want to just complain about your day, but
Right.
you really want to make sure that what can you do to eliminate these negative factors from your life. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I always wanted to, I love getting to know more people, and I know I always wanted to, do that. Like when I was like a freshman and sophomore, in college, and
Mm-hmm.
I decided to, just, whatever savings I had at the time, I used pretty much like all my savings, and I did an internship in Egypt, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a crazy experience for me because not only was I that was actually my first job working for a nonprofit. Like first official job in my career.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that, but like at the same time, like I actually did get to know a lot of people, and my perspective on life really shifted.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that we hear in media about third world countries is just outright like not true, or it's just exaggerated, right?
Yeah.
Media really makes a lot of these third world countries like come out as like people that you probably should not talk to because they're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But like in reality, even in the worst times that they were going through, like Egypt was going through revolution, they still are recovering from the revolution. They're all people are pretty much the same. Like you even if like we are going through hardships, like people are inherently good and people are not going to change. And like that's something that I've always believed in. I always will. And that's what keeps me going. And that attitude, like having that positive attitude about people, ensured that I actually had a really good experience, being in a foreign country where I didn't even speak the language, right?
Yeah.
um, I was just, I learned a couple numbers, a couple words, and just kind of worked it out. I asked people if they knew English around me, and English, thankfully, is a pretty common language that most, especially the younger generation, learns in their schools. So most people, you can find someone that can speak even a little bit, and they can really help you out. And it's really it all just comes down to mindset. And I think going back to weight loss, I think for me, my biggest growth is not me just losing weight, but I feel like the weight that I lost symbolizes not only the battle scars, like the things I've been through, but at the same time
Mm-hmm.
symbolizes the change that I've made. As pretty much basically, like as I lost more weight and I felt more comfortable with myself, I also realized how much I also felt comfortable with other people, and how much
Yes.
positive outlook I had about my life in general. Yeah, like right now, like we're all in a pandemic, and a lot of us have a lot of things to complain for, but like I'm healthy and I'm alive. My family's healthy, my family's alive, and that's more than enough. That really makes me humble about waking up every day and seeing like unfortunately so many people are dying, but my family's still safe, and making sure that we can do whatever it takes to to stay safe and somehow stay also financially active is
Mm-hmm.
it's a blessing. It really is a blessing. And we're going to a third world country where I had to like I didn't have any AC, right? Like sometimes like I would just sleep at night and there were mosquitoes going around. And I had like a little fan that I got from the people that I live with, that I used, which helped me a lot. And then waking up in the morning, cooking my own food, uh, you know, going out and buying water, and like realizing that Coca-Cola is cheaper than water in Egypt, which
Wow.
is crazy, right? And just feeling so appreciative of the little things. Like we have like pure, basically unlimited water that we can drink, and we have you know all the facilities, and we have the government that's like trying. I mean, I complain about the government a lot, but I think we also do have a lot of like socialist factors within our government,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that really do try to help people in need. And you know we do have these blessings that we can't just look over, because like a lot of people don't have those opportunities in the first place, right?
Yeah.
um and that's crazy to think about. And
Yeah.
also going back to we're talking about social media in general. So I do, like if you think about actors, they're getting millions of dollars just to be in the perfect shape of your life, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
why would you not, like if you could, for me, like someone like me, I've never really had a six pack because one, like I don't really care too much about it, because I know that like six pack inherently for guys,
Mm-hmm.
like some guys can have it, but inherently it's just not healthy, because like you really have to like dial down your weight all the way down to like around sub 10% body fat. And for guys,
Yeah.
like that's like walking around as less than 10% body fat, it's a struggle. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can, it reduces your sex drive, your testosterone is low, and like you're basically like not feeding your body so much. You're barely feeding it to, keep dieting, and like you're not really enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
And, if you're an actor that's getting paid $1 million to have a six pack, like, of course you would do it. Like if I was getting
Mm-hmm.
paid $1 million, like, yeah, go ahead, put some injections in my body, because it's
Right.
like, why wouldn't I look good? Because I know the better I look, the more money I'll make, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but you're not in the same position. You're doing fitness as a way to for longevity, to be able to live
Mm-hmm.
longer, and having a healthier body and a healthy mind, making sure that you fuel your body right. Because if you're fueling your body right, I can do a lot of things throughout the day. I can talk
Mm-hmm.
for like 10 minutes. Like I remember like even talking like this for 10 minutes, I would just go out of breath and I would be
Oh
just like drinking
wow.
water like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
3 years ago when I was like pre-diabetic. But like now, being at a point where, we are constantly doing so many things and you talk about, you do, these days about, 1 to 2 podcasts a day. And sometimes it's a lot of work. Right. And,
Yeah.
keeping your body in top shape to make sure that you can do all the activities, throughout the day and still feel, good when you sleep and don't,
Mm-hmm.
don't feel lethargic and tired and just, you just want to crash and you just don't have the energy to do anything. It's a struggle. Right. So,
Yeah.
like, going back to, I saw, I applaud Lizzo because, I look up to Lizzo a lot, right? She
Mm-hmm.
put up a post on Instagram about, body positivity. She was talking about like how she's overweight, but she
Mm-hmm.
still like loves herself and loves who she is. And, I
Yeah.
loved her message, right? But a lot of people were twisting it out as like, oh, like she, like, even if she's fat, like you should still like love her. Like guys, like, I don't know, there were just like a lot of like negative stigma around it, right? But I
Yeah.
think her message was that, at any point of the journey, you should not be hating yourself just because like you're like, she was talking about like how she's done a liquid detox, I think, where she was
Mm-hmm.
basically, basically on a diet, trying to make sure that she's trying to be healthy. And,
Yeah.
all of that is a process. And, she is definitely very overweight. And,
Yeah.
she's doing that not just because she just wants to lose weight, but she actually wants to be healthier and live a
Yeah.
healthy lifestyle. I think there's a difference between, being a little bit fat, like, I'm a little bit chubby and like, that's fine. Like, I like it like that because for me, I feel healthier. But
Yeah.
there's a difference between like that versus, trying to be, like I said, 10, like for guys, like sub 10% body fat with a six pack, going around for a whole year and like shoving in injections in your body and
Yeah.
steroids and stuff like that, just making sure that, you can look somehow, ripped and, just for the sake of society. And you're really just reducing your own
Mm-hmm.
longevity and health. And at the same time, like, you're not really doing it for yourself. You're just doing it for the validation of others. And that's
Yeah.
an issue.
And that's where the ego's from because it's like you don't really when you don't really know what you're doing and then it's like you don't really know where to start or what how to make it into to make it into a lifestyle because again how you said like it has to be part of your life now because you said like you have extra fat but it just makes you feel it makes you feel good because I don't think we have to be in the top shape in the shape because we're not longer live in the like before we had to survive like we had to like go outside and try to like kill animals and stuff so we have to make sure that we're like in the top like people were like kind of like tough like
I
muscle
mean,
and stuff.
like in the past, the body standards have changed so much. If you look into
Mm-hmm.
the Greeks and, just like the Renaissance and the art itself, like
Mm-hmm.
most women were, they didn't look like skinny, like how we see the
Yeah.
hourglass shape. Like they still had the curves and the hourglass shape, but
Yeah.
they're still like much bigger. Like, and that was the ideal beauty at the time. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that was a much better time because now, we are so focused on making sure that, we look like we just don't eat throughout the day. That's pretty much like if when I go
Right.
to the gym, when I'm going to the gym, and I see, other people, like especially young girls that are looking at, TikTok and social
Mm-hmm.
media, as an inspiration, for example. and
Mm. Yeah.
and those people, like, trust me, they don't even know better themselves. They're
Yeah.
still literally going through the same thing that you're going through, except that they got lucky doing something and now they have a platform and now they think like, a lot of people look up to them as an example, but in reality,
Mm-hmm.
they're still learning as well. And,
Yeah.
it sucks. It really does suck because I think having a good role model is everything. And
Yeah.
we as a society, we're at a point that we actually really do lack. We are just so diluted with so many role models that we don't really know who to really follow. I think that's what the
Yeah.
issue is.
And the thing about it too is like every time they fail or they do something bad, then like it kind of like everything that good they have done it gets destroyed. Like for example, like I started like this new movement kind of thing where I'm gonna be successful in the sense of like I'm gonna be able to like make my nonprofit grow and like focus focus on my podcast and stuff. And I was telling, I have to show the ugly too, because that's the thing. We don't really talk about the fact that those people are starving, like you said. They have to like get, extra medicine, to kind of like speed up the metabolism, so their body can start burning more fat. And it's like that's the kind of stuff that people get, that they forget that they should be talking about as well. Like, hey, like you want to look like me? Look, this is what you have to do. You can't eat for a whole day. You got to do fasting. You have to, minimize the times. You have to increase your sleeping habits. Like sleep like 10 hours to make sure that your body it's properly getting that rest. And make sure you drink a lot of water, or like you might have to, there are gonna be days where you're gonna feel like fatigue, because it's like you're not giving your body the proper amount of food and the calories and stuff. And it's like that's the kind of stuff. And because I want people, not just me, I want people to start talking about the ugly parts of anything. Because again, that goes, and even with the music podcast, like we don't talk about you alone and you're like, oh my god, like I get rejected again, like this is like the parts of the process that are gonna be there. It's like sometimes like how do we, they don't talk about the food either. You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of food are they really eating? How much are they eating? And because it changes. So it's like, it's not really the, how you said from the beginning, it's like you have to find your own way, because the way that I eat is completely different than yours, because my body, it reacts differently. I might be like lactose intolerant, and good at, you like, you told me that you like what was the cheese that you like, the cottage cheese?
Yeah, I
Yeah, so
love cottage cheese.
yeah, I'm like I eat it sometimes, but I'm lucky, like that, what's it called, lactose intolerance. So like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, that wouldn't work out for me. It's just like you have to always like keep in mind that you have to find what work best for you. And again, it's gonna be ugly and hard. And I really love. I was watching actually Lisa, like when I went her Instagram and I saw the whole video where she's showering and like everything, like I cry. I was like, this is something like, it's so beautiful. Like me as a personal trainer, and I talk to people that are I train people that are really overweight, and it's a struggle. And like the fact that she was so genuine about it, it's like, look, I'm trying, like stop basically hating me. I'm trying to love myself. Why you hate, why are you making the process harder, and like making things you seem, because you get to a point that she said, what, I don't care, I'm just gonna keep doing whatever I'm doing, because I know that I'm doing it for myself. And it's like that's the type of attitude that we have to kind of have also. Because again, somebody might tell you like, oh, your podcast sucks, and then you're gonna let that comment, or that just that opinion affects the rest of your movement, or your your project, just because of that. Because it's like, we have to understand that if we know we're trying our best, and that we're working towards that, that's the only thing that matters. And again, not everybody's journey is going to look the same. Like her weight loss journey is going to be different than yours.
I think one of the things that people really do ignore, and this
Mm-hmm.
this goes with, even in the dating world, it's just genetics. Like
Yeah.
if you're genetically gifted, if you are, for guys, if you're like 6'2", 6'3" or above, and you have good genetics, that you have good muscle insertions, you can get away with eating 3,000, 4,000 calories and not really gain weight, versus
Yeah.
someone that, maybe dude that's, maybe 5'6" or 5'7",
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. They have a harder time really, they have a harder time, really like losing the weight. It depends on you and your metabolism, but generally,
Mm-hmm.
the smaller you are, the less you have to eat, right? And
Yeah.
if you are someone that likes to eat a lot, then you have to really watch out for how much you can really put in your body. Some people can
Yeah.
get away with eating all sorts of junk food, and
Mm-hmm.
they're fine because their metabolism is so good that they don't have to worry about gaining weight. Some people also gain weight in different parts of their body. Some people,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I put on weight on my stomach and my hips. That's like the first
Yeah.
place like I always see it, and it's the worst place
Mm-hmm.
to have weight. And some people just put it on their back, and I know people that put it on their legs, and I'm like, I wish I had weight on my legs. And
Oh,
I'm like,
that's me.
who
My
doesn't
thighs
like?
get big.
Yeah, no, that's good, because then, like, having bigger thighs is, there's nothing wrong with that. It actually looks pretty good. And
Mm-hmm.
you really have to consider genetics as a factor. And going back to Lizzo, for example, like, like not everyone like knows, like she did things, like if she enjoys eating and she's been eating and she really loves that lifestyle, and like a lot of people follow for it, that's
Mm-hmm.
her, like, go for it. I support her fully. But if she's
Right.
at a point that, like, right now where she's not feeling, like, legitimately she's not at a healthy state, right? She's at a
Yeah.
weight where she might not be able to live for a really long time, and like she
Mm-hmm.
might, like, it's a risky, like, being obese is not, it's not a good lifestyle to have in the long run,
Yeah.
because you're really just reducing your lifespan, and it's harmful, and it's hard to really have this conversation, because a lot of people that are overweight, including myself, are usually depressed, and they want to, so either, like, they know that they have to work for it, but the amount of work you have to put, we all know that even losing 1 pound of, body weight takes a lot of
A
work.
lot.
Like, you would
Mm.
have to go on a run and be consistent with it, and especially if you are obese, especially, like in my case, like, I had to lose 40 pounds, but some people even have to lose a lot more, like hundreds of pounds, right? When
Mm.
you get into that level, like, it's kind of a lifestyle. Like, it's really hard to go from, eating fries and cheeseburgers all day to all of a sudden, you're forcing yourself to eat salads and quinoa, and, making, maybe being vegan and doing cardio and weights every day. Like, you know, we are just, humans are habitual beings.
Mm-hmm.
We like to
Yeah.
have a habit of
Mm-hmm.
everything that we do, and changing those habits takes time. It takes a lot of time. It's not easy. Difficult conversation to have, and I wish that people, especially that are overweight, will understand the other side, that, I didn't lose weight because I want other people to like me. I think that's a good side effect about it, and I think a lot of people do
Mm-hmm.
it because of that. Like, I think there was a reason that was a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really did it because of, like, I thought about my family, and I thought about, I don't want to, like, have, 30 years of my life, or maybe 40 years of my life, and just, die complaining about everything in life. Like, for me, like, for example, like with you're fit and you're active, you're healthy. If you want to go, date someone else and, like, actually find a partner, like, you want to find the similar qualities with a partner, right? If you want to go
Mm-hmm.
date someone, right, for example, you don't want to be with someone that doesn't look like they take care of themselves, right?
Yeah.
It's I think it's just innate and natural within us. So,
Yeah.
um, but I think there's the other side, that, when people talk, when people make fun of obese and overweight people, that's wrong, because
Yeah.
a lot of them actually are working on it, and a lot of them are struggling on it. And, it's some of them are doing the right thing, so they're on the journey, but you just don't see it, right? Obviously, it takes time, and some of them just need help, like, figuring out how to really do it in the first place. And that's where, we need to figure out, as a society, how to get rid of all that noise in social media, with, advertising about, Gymshark and Gymshark's athletes, for example, and, all of them are ripped and they all look happy, but obviously deep down, like, people, like, you can ask, like, a fitness Olympian models, right? We recently had an Olympia, and I follow this guy named Chris Bumstead, who
Mm-hmm.
just won the Classic Physique Olympia, and I've seen his journey on YouTube. Like, he, the dude, you know, like, you can tell, like, how much work it goes into it. Like, they're doing this full time, one, obviously, because,
Yeah.
like, obviously, like, he has YouTube and he has the online business with social media and everything, but his main job is to, to look good on camera. His main job is to be in the best shape that he can be, because that's kind of what he's committed his life to. And it
Yeah.
takes a lot of work to do it.
Yeah.
If it takes a lot of work for a fitness Olympia to do it, like, he's, eating maybe 5 times a day, and, like, he's, like, he's been doing that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's tough. It's really tough. And imagine how it is for someone that's just living a normal life, doing a 9 to 5 job, and still has to worry about, being in a healthier weight. It's a big process, and I think that's where, I always preach about, and I know you, as a personal trainer, also say that, you need to figure out ways to make it a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Changing the way you eat. So, eating things that you can see yourself eat for your whole lifetime, and not just for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
what's ideal. Like, I personally, like, at anymore, I don't eat plain salad. Like, I would always put a salad, like, tortilla, right? Or I would, like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I
like
do.
like
Yeah.
do some sort of combination. Maybe put some sour cream, like fat-free sour cream,
Mm-hmm.
some yogurt, like Greek yogurt is really good as a protein. Um, I love cottage
Tofu.
cheese. I also, tofu is really good. Tofu is really, really good.
I love that.
And, it's just figuring out, can I see myself, let's say, eating tofu and salad and tofu and quinoa and all that stuff like my whole life? Yeah, of course, absolutely I can. It's absolutely delicious, and that's the point of
Mm-hmm.
it. You want to find things that are delicious and you can see yourself eating, while at the same time maintaining a healthy goal. So I think there are two things I want to mention regarding
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to food in general. So one is
Mm-hmm.
drinking your calories is probably the worst thing you can do, right?
Yep.
So we talked about, you were mentioning that people drink juice, for example, juice that's like full of sugar, usually has hundreds of calories, and like you don't even realize it. Like I can drink juice in 2 seconds and gulp it all down, and there goes like 200 calories down my body,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's very easy to just put that down there versus, for example, if you're eating chicken breast, maybe that's like, 160 calories per, I don't know, per in a couple ounces, something like that. I'm just making a number. And,
Mm-hmm.
you will feel a lot more satiated because now you're actually eating the food and taking your time eating it and you're actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
I like low calorie drinks. Like, I love like mixing. I have like sugar-free pudding. Like I just got a banana cream pudding. It's like, I don't know, it's like 25 calories like per serving or something like that. It's really
Mm-hmm.
low, and I put it in almond milk. I love almond milk. It's like 30
That's
calories per cup.
yeah.
And just I just enjoy eating the way I eat right now because not only it's delicious for me, but at the same time, like I can see myself do this for a while, but at the same time, I'm actually seeing results. Like I don't even really do cardio anymore, to be honest. Like if I'm honest with you, because like I know that like I check my weight, and like I haven't really gained any weight, but I'm gaining muscle. So
Yeah.
muscle weigh more than fat. So if you're gaining muscle and you're not really actually putting on weight, that means that you're basically losing fat at the same time. So like understanding like how the muscle versus fat, like the whole dynamic really works,
Mm-hmm.
it's very very important. And I mean I love it. I love this this journey I'm on, and I'm going to be 22 in a couple of days, and it's just a start for me.
I'm really proud of you, by the way. That's amazing. Like,
Thank
I
you.
think people don't really, again, like it's all because it's hard. It is hard because it's not only takes a physical. You have to do it physically, but you have to do it mentally. You have to like, okay, every time you see, like, you want a juice, you want water. You have to decide like quickly. Because sometimes the body's like, yeah, give me just juice, and then you're like, wait, and then you end up drinking it. It's like doing like this tiny little decisions every
It
single
just
time that you're
it's
faced
we
with it.
have different habits, right? So it's like if my habit is to wake up in the morning and eat a very high sugary cereal, right,
Mm-hmm.
with a peanut butter sandwich, which is what I used to have every morning when I used to go to school in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like what I eat right now is just a protein shake. Like I literally just drink a smoothie. Like I literally make a protein shake smoothie, and that's my breakfast before I go work out, whether it's at gym or whether it's like outside or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And let's making those small changes. And now it's at a point where it's just a habit. Like I don't think about it. I wake up, it's like the first thing I do is just
Yeah.
drink a smoothie, and it's absolutely delicious. Well, that's, I mean, I was talking about like drinking calories. That's one of the things I actually do enjoy drinking, right? Like
Yeah.
because like not only you have to realize like protein is very satiating. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
fills you up. It really just fills you up really quickly. I can like chug in a protein shake, and maybe it's like 25 calories per cup, and your stomach just feels really full. And at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, protein also has a higher thermogenic rate. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're drinking protein, it's harder for your body to digest it. So your body actually automatically actually uses calories to burn it off. There is a study, I think, I mean, I can't really like cite it, but I do know on top of my head, there is a study that they found out that like if you're eating a very high like protein diet, uh, like they did a study where like they had two people, like I mean two groups of people, like one with higher protein diet, one with moderate protein, but they're still hitting how much protein they need for the day. And people that are eating a higher protein diet actually burned an extra pound of fat just in a
Mm-hmm.
month, because that's the effect of protein is, you know your body needs the energy to even just break down the protein in general. So your body is automatically like losing weight at the same time. So for me, like I also like to weigh my food and like track my calories. Like I don't actually weigh my food as much anymore, except for
Mm-hmm.
maybe if I'm eating like dessert or anything,
Yeah.
because I know what I'm eating. Like I don't really have to track it. But like when you're beginning to like eat, like I think the importance of like weighing your food, because you really need to realize like how much you're actually eating. Like if you're like I don't know, like if you're like maybe like a girl that's like 5'2" and eating like 3,000 calories, and you're complaining about not being able to lose weight, like if you once you realize you're eating 2,000 calories, I mean, you can see the problem, because you're eating so much for someone that's not that size, right? And then like realizing like like how much I'm eating, like is this really healthy, like am I maintaining weight at this amount of like food that I'm eating. Like if you want to lose weight, maybe reduce the calories down to maybe 300 to 500. If you want to like increase, put on some muscle, increase the weight, then you want to increase the calories by maybe 200 300, and
Yeah.
understanding those like little things and just it all just like I always just think about it as like math is absolute, right? If I
Mm-hmm.
can, weigh my food and like understand how much calories like I'm putting in my body and understand the math, like I can literally eat ice cream all day if I really wanted to, right? I could just eat, pints of ice cream all day. I might not get like all the protein I need, but if I just eat about, for me, if I eat about, 2,000 calories of ice cream a day, I will definitely lose weight by the next day, no matter what, you know. It's not
Yeah.
healthy, but like understanding how much you're putting in really does help because at the end of the day, it's all about calories in and calories out, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, the cool thing about weighting your food is like in the beginning is so you become more conscious. That literally the whole trick of that is just become more conscious of what you putting in. Because as a personal trainer don't work out every day. I think people there's a misconception that to
no, you
stay in
don't have
shape
to.
you.
I only work out like maybe 4 to 5 times a week. At this,
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
I do try to be active. Like there are
Mm-hmm.
times when I know people that can get away with just working out 3 times a week. But when you are starting, like maybe starting up, you might have to work out maybe 6 times a week. But taking
Yes,
a
and then
break,
work your
this
way.
is this is
Mm-hmm.
one of my biggest issues, which is why I kind of like messed up my knees.
Mm.
Because I used to run every single day, and I did that for like a
Oh,
year. And
yeah.
you need to really like learn how to give your body a break because like
Mm-hmm.
I as soon as like I started taking breaks, not only like I was going to the gym next week and like I was like significantly stronger than I was when I was like working out like pretty much 6 7 days a week, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time I felt a lot more recovered and healthy and I didn't feel like I was walking around my bones, they just felt like they're just gonna break and snap at any point because your bones, like literally your body gets exhausted. It gets really
Mm-hmm.
exhausting. You need to really learn how to give yourself the little break. And you know, I personally, like for example, like I don't do cheat meals because my diet is really good that I don't really like it. Like I don't think about it. Like it's never a big
Yes,
deal for me.
exactly.
If I
Mm-hmm.
want to eat pizza, I just eat pizza. But
Yeah.
if you want to have one cheat meal a week to make yourself feel better, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, go for it, but like I think you want to get to a point that where you don't need to have cheat meals because you want to feel like
Yes.
you're eating a cheat meal every single day. Like that's the goal
Mm-hmm.
of it, right? Like if you um like I like I talked about like sour cream and like I like low fat or fat free sour cream. For me, it doesn't taste that much different to me. I think it just
Mm-hmm.
tastes exactly like sour cream. I love sour cream, so it feels like a cheat meal to me every time I'm eating it. And fat
Yeah.
free cheese, for example, there's so many different like cool stuff that have like come out. Like fat free cheese is just protein, straight up protein. There's no fat,
Yeah.
no basically no carbs in it, and it's crazy. They taste absolutely delicious.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
for me,
good.
I never really have to have a cheat meal.
Yeah. I mean, everything in moderation. I always say that word wrong.
Moderation.
Moderation. Yes, everything in moderation is good because the same time it's like you can't. Yeah, if you deprive your body from like foods, then your body is gonna want it. I mean, it's like when your parents say you don't do something, and you're like, you want to just try to do it because like challenge accepted, and that's the thing. It's like our brain does that unconsciously. Like, okay, I'm not allowed to have meat, like I think that's where the cheat meal comes in. Like, I'm not allowed to have pizza, so you have a
Mm-hmm.
day, a weekend where you like just have pizza and just just what have pizza, drink drink a lot of a soda, and then just watch movies all day because it's like you deserve this, you work hard for this, but you don't really have to. You really
Mm-mm.
have to deprive your body, for that. And also going back to the protein thing in the morning, that's what I do as well. That's my breakfast. Like I do a protein shake in the mornings, and then of course I do a little workout. Like I do not really workouts. Like I do stretch every single day, and that literally it will change your life. Like stretching in the morning and at night, it will just help you because you don't think about it, you because we're constantly like in the same position, and that stresses your body because your body's not designed to be that. It's not designed to be always sitting. It's not designed to be like kind of like this, and it's like your body deserves to like to be stretched and flex, and stuff like that. So I think when you do that, you even working out, it becomes better, because of course you're not gonna get as, you're gonna have less injuries, and you're gonna feel less sore, you're gonna sleep even better, because again, when your body is so tense, your mind gets tense as well, and then you get hurt. You can even get headaches and body, really bad body cakes as well when you don't stretch enough. And I think people don't understand that sometimes, because we don't really talk about that kind of stuff. And I'm glad that you kind of like are, when we're talking about like health and stuff, because again, like when you do make fitness into your lifestyle, it's easier to keep it like that, maintain it, because
Mm-hmm.
again, you say
Mm-hmm.
you don't really work out, like you kind of keep the same weight, and you're got to the point that you know your body so well that you're able to eat ice cream and still not, and
Yeah,
still lose weight or
exactly.
stuff. Because I mean, it's true, like I agree with that, because I kind of eat whatever I want, I mean, I don't eat meat just because I just prefer not to, but I do like to, like, once in a while, going out and get some pizza, or just go and, yeah, eat ice cream, like sorbet. But because it's like, again, if you lock yourself from that, then it's like it's gonna be harder for you to like even enjoy, because now you see us like this is a pain in the ass, like, oh, I can't really have that, and then that's gonna literally hunting you, and then you're gonna get stressed about it too, so eventually you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna like perch on it. Is it perch? Is it you eat a lot of it?
Yeah,
So
yeah. You're
yeah,
just
I
gonna
mean,
binge on it. Yeah.
binge, yeah, yeah. So it again, like, just like, to the listeners, just try to make sure that you're satisfied with your eating habits, and don't go on diets, because diets, when you put it into a diet, you feel like it's just a short term, and I understand, like, diets are good from the beginning, but I guess I just like a different word for it, because again, it's just you trying to adapt it. It's kind of like a bridge to a new lifestyle. So it's like it's not like you're gonna do this forever. It's like, okay, like I'm gonna start trying things here and there and seeing what works for me, because again, everybody's body is differently, so it might react differently. So I think it's all about like seeing, okay, so if I eat a burger, how do I feel? It's kind of like asking that type of questions, because you can I don't think we also like take the time to see how food make us feel. Because have you ever like ate a burger? Like when I used to eat meat before, I used to eat like burgers, and I used to be like foggy. My mind used to feel so foggy, and I was like, oh my gosh, like food
You know,
coma. You
there
know what?
there is an actual evidence of certain foods being inflammatory for your
Yes, there we
body.
go.
So
Mhm.
there's the vertical diet. If you've heard about the vertical diet, is
Mhm. Mhm.
there's some foods that it talks about that's just like, you cut
Makes
out certain
sense.
foods and then you only eat like certain amount of food, and a lot of people have benefited from it because a
Mhm.
lot of people, especially when you get older, your body is just slow in general. You have a lot of inflammation in your body because you're working out and it takes forever for your body to recover. There are certain foods that you might want to avoid, that might make you feel lethargic or feel inflamed, and stuff like that. And we both just talked about, just like knowing you and like knowing your body in general is going to be the key, right? So
Yeah.
like you talk about stretching. I know I've like read into like online forums and discussions, and there are a lot of people that talk about like how they started doing yoga and actually gained about like half an inch to an each inch of height. And like
Mhm.
the thing is, like, they're not actually like gaining height. It's just that
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
you're basically releasing the pressure in your spine
Mhm.
that you basically never stretch, right? And
Yeah.
your spine is basically getting back to its natural position. And
Mhm.
because of that, you might be gaining like maybe some inches in your height. And like your posture can make a lot of difference. Like I even in the chair, like I'm like sitting straight. Like if I'm sitting like this, like you know, like your body's gonna be naturally inclined to just sit in not in a non-straight positions. And then
Mhm.
when you stand up, especially like when you're in the workplace, you have to lead a couple meetings.
Mhm.
People talk about your posture and like your height and your posture are like two things that really does have good research and correlation to how people perceive you as a leader. So, and I think one
Mhm.
of the most
Mhm.
important ones is the posture itself. If you're slouching down and you're trying to like talk to me, like if you don't really look confident. Like if you're
Yeah.
versus like you have your chest up and like you're actually trying to talk to someone face to face.
Mhm.
It makes a huge difference in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I stretch a lot. I stretch usually in the morning after my workout, and then at night as well. And I do
Mhm.
some yoga stretches. I started doing some yoga stretches actually recently. and they're helping a lot as well, like release some tension from my spine. Especially like I had a leg like a heavy leg day yesterday, and I felt like I was definitely shrunk down like 2 inches. That's what it felt like after a leg day.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like I remember just doing like a cobra pose, just doing yoga, like the cobra pose
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
that. Um, and I just felt like a lot of this tension. Like you could just hear my spine just cracking as you're doing it. And like I
It's
got
like,
up,
thank
and
you.
I know I got up because I have a point on my wall where I can see my height. And I saw like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh wait, I'm back to where my height used to be in the morning. So yeah, now like my spine's just like back to normal. And I think all it takes is like max maybe 3 minutes to maybe 5 minutes for per stretching. Like it's not even that much. Like you don't have
Yeah.
to stretch so much. It's stretch your arms, your legs, just start moving a little bit, because I think we're so used to just sitting in our chairs and like in our sofas in our beds all the time, and just slouching down and just watching Netflix. And you're really just hurting yourself. And especially a lot of people do it, like especially tall people
Oh
go through,
yeah.
especially like
There's
if you are above, like let's say 6'2", 6'3", and
mm-hmm.
like for me, I'm lucky, like I'm 5'8", pretty much like almost like average height. Like I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry about that. Like I've never really had any back problems, but I like legit know friends that are like super tall and have a lot of back problems, because the taller you are, the more inclined you are to just slouch down for everything, because it's
Yeah.
hard for you to sit down in cars, so you're always slouching down. It's hard for you to sit in
Mm-hmm.
airplanes, so you're slouching down. So you have this habit of like, even when you're talking to people, you just start like
Yeah.
like
That way you're
slouching
not
down. Just
intimidating. Yeah.
exactly, and like and it's in the it's something that a lot of tall people go through, is just back issues. And really have to like make sure that especially if you're tall, especially as a dude. Obviously dudes are taller in average. You need to make sure that you're always like, you always have a good posture, because that's everything. Posture is everything.
Yeah. And also the great thing about that is that you literally are burning calories in your abs. In your area, like you can freaking get abs from, well, of course eating is more important, very important. But if you stand straight, you literally flexing your muscles constantly. So that helps a lot too. And people don't really know that, but that's literally a simple workout, just keeping your
I
back
don't
straight. So
I don't even actually I actually don't do any specific ab work, because for me, like, I can see that it's there. Everyone has abs. You
yeah.
can
Yeah.
you can
It's true.
do like specific ab work. The benefit of doing ab work is, if you have a higher body fat, then you can see your abs, because you have to
Mm.
sculpt it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like me doing squats and deadlifts, you use a lot of, like, especially if you're doing compound exercises where you're taking the barbell, like and like actually holding it on your body. You're basically using all your muscles in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And using all your muscles, it strengthens your core a lot.
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of powerlifters, like people that actually compete in powerlifting, uh, if you look at their training, they don't do like isolation exercises. They don't actually like do ab crunches, or they don't actually like isolate their muscles and work on specific body parts, because that's more bodybuilding. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them, like especially if they are powerlifting, and if they are in like good shape, like they're not actually fat, they actually all have abs. And like they have it because you're using your core constantly to do all of these activities, whether it's overhead press, whether it's barbell, deadlifts, or whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're using your core all the time, and it's going to keep developing. And once you dial down to a smaller body fat percentage, you start seeing it automatically. And
Yeah.
for me, like I don't do abs, because for me, I know that like I've got to a body fat where I can see some of my abs. So like when I know like I'm at a point where I can see some of my abs, like I know I'm at a good body fat percentage. Like I know this is where
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually losing weight. Because a lot of times like it's hard to rely on a scale, especially like if you're
Yeah.
going
I
to the
don't.
gym
Mm-hmm.
doing weights, and then also trying to lose weight at the same time. Like you're putting on
Mm-hmm.
muscle. Muscle, like I said before, weighs more than fat. So like relying
Yeah.
on a scale is not the best option, because you might think like, oh, I'm not really losing weight. Like I haven't lost. I think I've only gained like 1 pound in like the last 3 or 4 weeks, where I've like actually started going to a gym early in the mornings because of Corona.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I legit, like, it looks like I've lost 5 pounds, but like on the scale, like it doesn't show that I've lost 5 pounds, because obviously I'm putting on more muscle, right? And muscle is weighs more than fat, so you just don't see it. So a lot of times you have to really realize like looking at your body and just like looking at the changes you have, whether it's like taking a picture, whenever you're like looking at yourself to track, to keep progress of your body, or
Yeah.
just looking at seeing if you're getting abs as a way to find out if you're shedding body fat or not, like whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's always a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, because there's people that actually have this, this disorder that they can't really see that. What is it called? It's when like this dysphoria. It's when they can really see it. But I think
Body dysmorphia, yeah,
yes,
it's a
yes,
real thing.
and for those people, I would say like just try to like feel your body, like in the sense of like how do you as you walk and do stuff like that, feel it. It sounds weird. It sounds weird, but
No, no,
when
you're
you get
absolutely right. You're absolutely correct. If you weigh less, you can just feel like if I go on a run right now, I can run a lot better than I would if I was even like 5 pounds overweight. Like you can tell your cardio is a lot better.
mm-hmm.
You feel a lot better, and for most people, I think most people can see it on their face. I can constantly see it
Yes.
on my face if I'm losing weight. It's like the first thing you notice is if your face is skinny. So
Mm-hmm.
and that's a really good indication to watch out for that. But just if you are doing a regimen where you're trying to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, it's really tough. Like I actually do not know if you can do that at the same time. I think maybe you are able to if you're eating in a slight surplus. If you're eating
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit more to the point that you're just fueling your body enough to get muscle, but like not enough that it will pack on fat. I think if you are trying to gain muscle, you cannot avoid gaining even a little bit of fat. Like you will gain some sort of fat, but you can
Mm-hmm.
easily lose it you can easily lose it in a couple of weeks, just by eating in a slight deficit, just eating it just a little bit less than you normally do, and you will lose that fat, and then you can see all the abs. That's usually how it is for me, and I think it probably applies to most people.
Yeah, because but going back to like the face, like I did realize that when I lost, like, it got to when I lost a lot of weight, my face, like, it's just crazy. I never like
You can
realized.
get chiseled.
Yeah, like
I
I'm
have a
like,
I have a beard, but you don't see it. But
yeah, look, by the way, your what's it called? Your jawline looks fine. Like that's cool. I don't know, but it's so funny because it's like I never realized how my face really looked. Like I was kind of like this, like kind of like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, a little,
yeah.
yeah. Because I don't know, it's so weird. Because even though I wasn't like too shabby, like I still have like I don't know. It's just weird because again, it's like when you start to like actually look at yourself, because I never really took the time to look at myself that well until
Hmm.
like this a few years when I'm like, okay, I need to get into like real fitness and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, again, it all goes back to like understanding your body because when I start like sometimes when I'm doing like anything, I just kind of like just flex my muscle and just start to feel something. Like I'm just literally like just walk like kind of like doing like like Russian twist but standing kind of thing. Like you just
Hmm.
twist this. So I don't know. It's just like even doing little things like that can help a lot because it's like you're literally just burning calorie as you do a normal thing because sometimes
Hmm.
it takes a little bit it takes as simple as that little action because eventually it's gonna add up and we're gonna do
That's
that.
that's just how it is. That's literally how it is. You don't need to force yourself to do. I don't do cardio because I walk. I try to walk as much as I can.
Yeah,
That's just
walking
my
is
thing.
great. I think it's the best thing. I
I
mean, we're
wonder. I
supposed to.
think, in my opinion, I think it's the best cardio because
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm sweating. Because like when I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
cardio, I sweat like hell. Like especially in the
Me
gym.
too.
So I have to like go home and shower, change clothes.
Yeah.
When I'm walking, I'm not really sweating, and I just if I have to call a friend, I would just go on a walk and call a friend. When I would
Mm-hmm.
attend my classes, sometimes I would just go on a walk and attend my classes. And just by doing that, I can burn about 200-300 calories a day. Do just take 10,000 steps, and yeah, I'm good to go. There's my cardio for the day. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
not
not
even that
only
hard.
yeah, and not only that, but it helps your like your mental, like it clears your mind. Like I feel like walking is it's such a great thing for the mind. I think we just are meant to be out there, like just breathing the real earth. I
Yeah,
mean air.
especially now in this pandemic,
Yeah.
especially most of us are just sitting in the house all the time. Like I know friends that have been sitting in their house for months. They haven't really got out at all.
Oh
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
and I'm like, God bless your soul. I can't do that. I
Right.
actually do enjoy going on a walk. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like it's super crowded at my place. So
Mm-hmm.
I just go on a walk whenever I want. It's a different feeling. It feels like things
Yeah.
are actually happening outside of us. It's just a nice
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I feel like it's important to connect with the nature sometimes because I mean again like just staying home and like just staying inside all the time thinking about the pandemic, man, you can't sleep good at night. Like I know for 3 months I was just
Nah.
kind of like too focused on that. I would still go outside, but I was just kind of like so caught up on that I can't do this anymore. I was dreaming about the pandemic. I was like, oh my god, my what if my family gets sick? Da, 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 da. And it's like, like if we're taking the right precautions, then there's nothing to worry about. Like, like that's kind of like one of those things. Like if you can't stress about things that you can't really control. As long as you're doing the things you
Hmm.
controlling the things that you can, like all the things you gotta kind of just let them be, because again, you can't force that. You can force that type of stuff.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. Also,
Mhm.
my laptop's gonna die in 10 minutes, so
Oh yeah, we've been here. Yeah, gotcha. But again, thank you for being here. How can people reach you?
yeah, please check out our podcast on the streaming. You're welcome to DM. I have a co-founder, so you can just DM us on Instagram. I also have a LinkedIn. You guys are welcome to look me up if you want. Honestly, yeah, if you guys want to actually reach out to me for anything, you can check out the Instagram that Victoria will have in the description, or you can just reach out to Victoria. She can just give my contact to you.
I got
Um,
you guys.
and I'm always willing to help with. I mean, right now we only really talked about the weight loss journey, but I could always come to a podcast and do a different topic, because
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of different things that I can talk about. Even it's with academics, like I'm a computer science major, so if you're listening and are lost about how to really pursue your path in computer science, I've I have some experience. Like I've worked for about uh, 4 startups at this point, and I'm a current intern at IBM, and then I'm also going to be joining Amazon in when I graduate in May. So, if you guys need any sort of help or guidance, it's funny like how like I just mentioned that at the end.
I love it. No, no, thank
Of
you. So
course, of course.
impressed.
Um, but if you guys need any sort of help or guidance in navigating through your career, I know me and Victoria are both really good resources, because
Yes.
we're not only we've been through this journey, but we're still also going through it at the same time. So let's help each other out if we can. And thank you
Yes.
for having me, Victoria.
Thank you for being here again. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Let me pause it.